maybe we can start. Hello everyone, I'm very honored to be invited to give the talk about my personal experience about research and graduate school application, and also for the future career sharing. Previously I started communication engineering at CityU from 2016 to 2018. And where I'm fortunate to advised by the Professor Dai. And a very interesting fun fact is actually I'm the first generation of the E-Honor Society member. And I'm glad to see that on E-Honor Society has many interesting activities and sharing sessions about the CityU alumni and other career sharings. And after that, I transferred to UIUC, where I decided to change my major to computer science. At the UIUC, I work with Professor Jiawei Han and do the research about data mining, machine learning, and I'm also interested in several applications about the bioinformatics. So basically, my research goal is to conclude with 3 R's and 3 E's. I want to build some efficient, effective, and explainable system and apply it to the real problem with large-scale real data. And we want to propose a real solution. That's what I pursue during my research experience. Yeah, here I would like to give you some ideas about what our group is doing. Our data mining group at UIUC, we are constructing and mining heterogeneous information network and text knowledge cubes from the massive unstructured text data. And we want to start from the unlabeled plain text, what we have on the webs. And we want to find some knowledge, find some phrases, find some entities, and construct several knowledge. For example, the networks, for example, the multidimensional text cubes from that phrases and entities. And finally, we construct the knowledge from the the plain text. So as for myself, previously I do 2 lines of work. First, text mining, and another one is graph mining. I'm focusing on the how to mine knowledge, how to do the high-level analysis based on several structured data. For example, the taxonomy. For example, the heterogeneous information network. And also, I focus on the text mining. We did some analysis on the COVID-19 literature study, and we propose several automatic tools to help the biomedical researchers to get some knowledge from the enormous biomedical scientific literatures. Yeah, that is just an idea about what we are doing and what I'm doing. So for today's sharing, I will introduce 4 steps or sections. First is the scope of this talk, what we are going to talk about. And second one is the my experience about the grad school application. Third one is how to do undergraduate research. And last one is how to find good research topics. I think for people who are attending these sessions, we will more focus on the research. And if you are focused on want to pursue some job application or career in the engineering, you may find other people's sharing session more useful than mine because I am focused on the research part. So the scope of this talk, first we want to decide which one do you prefer, the researcher or engineer? May I have some polls, or how many of you are expected to become a researcher or an engineer in the future? You can just type your answer in the chat box. Yeah, because if you answer this question, I will adjust the following part of my sharing. Otherwise, I will just go straightforward, focusing only on the research part. Is that okay? Okay, I saw three answers. Two are researchers and one is engineer. Actually, as I said here, there's no universal advantage between from one to another. Yeah, a lot of my friends choose to do the software development engineering after their graduation, and they're very successful. A lot of my friends work at Google, Facebook, Amazon, and like LinkedIn. They also can contribute several research projects, and they enjoy their life. I can still remember that during my study at the CityU, I took a course named Signal Processing. At that time, I think it's Professor Tommy Cho is the instructor. And during the lecture, he told us that if you want to find a job, go to the United States and take a master degree. I think at that time, he might be too too deterministic, because nowadays we treat the job market in China and job market in US, they are comparable. A lot of my colleagues choose to return to China, like they work in software and they work at like Alibaba and ByteDance. Their package is actually comparable with the package from the US companies. So if you choose to do engineering, you may find a master's degree in the United States helpful, but your ultimate goal may vary if you choose to work in China or work in United States. As for researchers, this is the main focus for our talk. And after this researcher or engineering question, because I know that there are three majors in our CityU department. If I'm correct, if my memory is correct, should be there's a ECE, CDE, and IE. I'm not sure how many of you are from ECE department, ECE major, and how many of you are from the IE major, or you are just in the year one. There's no strict division between these three majors. Okay, one from CDE, and okay, we got audience from the both three majors. Actually, from my experience, the graduates from CityU, if they choose to pursue their master degree in engineering, some of them, I would like to say most of them, they will transfer to like a computer science degree to do the computer science courses and find a job in either in United States or in China, because the fact is that the job market is that there's some way more job quotas in computer science domain rather than the easy like the EE engineering domain. So my advice that if you want to find a job, then no matter what you are studying, you can just do the master degree and find a job. If you want to do research, I think the ECE and IE they are very different. IE I think is more similar to the computer science. I still remember there's a professor at CityU. When I was studying studying at CityU, they told me that there's no difference between IE and computer science. So if you choose to study IE and do research, probably you will meet several advisors from the computer science department instead of only finding some advisor in EE department. So again, as for ECEs, I think I may not provide that helpful advice for you because I'm not that familiar with the research in the ECE major. But actually, as far as I know, there are several very successful alumni. Another one is Yuki Li, which is the next driving alumni for the Honor Society driving. And another one is called Gabriel Guanglei Zhou. Some of you may know him. He studied the ECE in the CityU, And now he is a master student in University of Toronto, doing the FPGA design. You may find his advice more useful than mine. So in this talk, I will focus on the CS domain sharing, but I believe most of the techniques, most of the tricks during the research and during the application may be universal, no matter you are ECE or CS. But as for the major research advising, you may find other people's sharing more useful. And next one is for the MS, MEng, or PhD. Actually, I think some of you may know the difference and some of you may not. MEng is actually job oriented. If you want to find a job, you can apply for the MEng. This one is I think is the easiest one to get admitted. Another one is MS. MS is research oriented. It's easier than getting to a PhD degree. And usually the top university treat their MS degree students as a preparation for their PhD degree. But actually the master degree has a superior than the PhD degree is that master degree you have the chance to regret. After 2 years of master study, if you think your major is not what you want to study during the PhD degree, you can switch to another one. Or you can even have another master degree. And if you are directly going to the PhD degree, you may find it's too late to change your topics. Yeah, this is for the scope of the talks and several introduction. So first I want to talk about the graduate school application because I just finished my graduate school application and I will joining the machine learning department as a PhD student in CMU. And I think the graduate school application is really considered to be very unclear and undeterministic and hard to predict. I think it's correct because no one knows what the market is and how hard you will get admitted to some specific, because there are a lot of deterministic determining factors. For example, as I listed here, most of people treat this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 factors are very important. First is a letter of recommendation. The next one is publication and your statement purpose. And finally, some GPA, English scores, and your so-called actual curricular activities. So your experience in class. But actually, I want to mention that the letter of recommendation is way more important than rest of them, even more important than the publications. This is from my personal experience because at the time for the application, I have 4 papers published, but actually my letter of recommendation is not as strong as several students I know who got admitted to many universities. So, and I have known several cases that even though they have weak publications, but their letter recommendation is very strong, so they can get admitted to very good universities. So trust me, the letter is the most important one. There's no exceptions. And for the publications, nowadays it's more challenging to get admitted without any publication. Actually, it's become a necessary but not sufficient condition for the top school PhD admissions. Actually, as far as I know, in CMU, in their selection process, they would say that the first round of filtering is to check the publication of the applicants. If you have no publications, you will get kicked out in the first round of filtering. So that's why we observe some students with very strong background, but in their field of study, it's not that easy to get published paper, so they get easily rejected from the top university. Another one is that's the conference and the journals, which is the venues. My advice that if you can publish some paper in top conference with first author, that's the best, that's optimal. But we observe several cases that even though the venue is not that good, but you actually publish something, even in the workshop, that can demonstrate your ability or capability to do research. So the chance of getting ability to PhD degree get way bigger than others who didn't publish anything. So work hard and get your work published. This is for the publication. No matter the conference, as long as your advisor agree with you to submit some paper to some venues, just do it. And third one is a statement of purpose. Like this one is kind of tricky part because before the application process, I saw that it might be important to have a good SOP. But actually, after the application, I found that the SOP is just if you can tell a story and you can demonstrate your past experience, and you can demonstrate your willingness to work with some professor, that's okay. It's not necessary to have very, very beautiful statements or very, you got someone to look at your LP, go edit it over and over again. That time is, I think this is a waste of time. And about the SOP, this is very related to your research experience. My advice is that if you want to really go to top universities, in the selection of your research project, you have to get them related or correlated. Because in your SOP, in your PhD application, you can see that in the previous I have done project 1, project 2, and project 3, and each of them study some specialized topics, but they are connected together. That is way better than you do some concrete projects and there's no connection between them at all. Last is the GPA, English score, and actual curricular activities. I think they are the least important. Actually, I think the GPA and English score, the English score is even waived in this year's application. I didn't submit any GRE score to the university. For the English scores, only some of the schools require the English score. But as far as I know, if you want to apply for a research degree, as long as you can pass the borderline, for example, for TOEFL is 100, and GRE, I believe is 320. As long as you pass the line, you will be safe because no one will filter out just based on your lower English score. They will only focus on your research experience and your previous 3 conditions. And last, the actual curricular activities for the people who is doing like spend a lot of time doing society jobs. My advice that if you want to really get to a PhD degree, stop it and focus on your research. Yeah, and next one is like my advice on how to do undergraduate research. I think that may be the most useful sharing from this session. I think you have to think about the 3 questions. First is why research? Why are you doing research? Why would you like to do research with some advisor? That is probably usually asked when you ask for advisor, like, Professor, I want to do research with you. They may ask, why are you doing research with me? And why do you want to do research? My reason for doing research is that I would like to enrich myself and get prepared, get trained for the PhD application. And I still remember Professor Dai's advice to me, you should do top research in top universities. I think that's guidance actually enforced me to pursue the higher degree and pursue the higher opportunity to do higher level research. And second one, you have to have a target, because different people doing research in different levels, or they do research for different purpose. If you want to just do the research for fun, like you want to experience several experience the life in the labs, or you just want to see what is going on in the research lab, then you may classify yourself as a casually researcher. You just want to gain some knowledge. In that way, you don't have to pay too much attention to your research, because maybe afterwards you may choose to go to find a job after your graduation. And second one is seriously you want to do some research. In that stage, you may want to find some advisors. You may find some mentors. You may find some like senior students and do the research under their guidance. And last one is the most challenging one. You want to do research independently. That is what the graduate school focus most when they select for the admissions. You have to have the ability to do the research out of scratch. You have to propose your ideas, propose your propose the problem, propose the idea, propose a solution, and you have to justify that your solution is correct. And that is basically how a research project is going. So to get the ability to do independent research, you have to like spend your time. Like in other ways, spending time is actually equivalent to sacrifice your entertainment time, because no one can have a perfect balance between study, social, and sleep. Yeah, I think most people can choose as at most 2, maybe 1.5. No one, I believe no one can balance the sleep, social, and study. It's rather study and sleep together. It's very hard. And another one is that you have to decide what kind of things are important, what kind of things are emergent. Yeah, there's this like a table classify the to-do list into 4 categories, whether it's emergent, whether important. But actually, this is not universally correct. You may find something like, even though it's not emergent nor important, but you just want to do it. So basically, we want to make things that both emergent and important finish first, and we will focus on these things that are important but not emergent, because in that way we can have more time to do that. But actually, it's totally your decision. You have to clarify your own priority. If some students think that I want to take some activities, like I know in CityU you have to take part in the activity to get the quota for next year's dormitory. Because in some people may think that it's not emergent nor important, but someone treated it as it's very emergent and it's very important. So clarify your own priority and know what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and then you will find how to rank your to-do list and spend your time. And finally, once you got your idea about what to do, what not to do, then just start hard working, do with your passion, and takes responsibility. So after that, I will assume that you have decided to do research, and you have make some sacrifice, and you may, and finally you want to do research, and you want to have an opportunity to get a higher degree opportunity after graduation. The next one is how to find good research topics. That's very, very important. Actually, even though you become a like master degree or you get your PhD degree in your career life, if you want to do research, finding a good research topic is always the top priority in your mind when you think about doing research. Because if you find a bad topic, even though that in the first several weeks you may find it's very interesting, you may find it's promising, but actually at the end of the research project, you will find that it's impossible to finish that, or it's impossible to finish that in using the existing technology. So at that time, you spend a lot of money, you spend a lot of time, and you spend a lot of difficulty experience to do the useless research. So my advice can be listed as follows. First, you have to read broadly and think ahead. You have to do some surveys. Even though that I know that as an undergraduate student, if you you want to find some research opportunity, the advisor may simply assign a research topic to you. But at that time, my advice is that you think about the topic yourself and do several surveys, do some study, and may propose a better idea, or you may propose another idea. When I was first doing research with Professor Dai, she actually offered me 2 different topics, and at that time I'm not that familiar with research. I just simply chose one, and I think I'm fortunate enough to get like a topic that I can handle with. But if you are not that fortunate, you got a topic that you are not familiar with, or you out of your ability, you may find very difficult to finish that topic. So before you do your really do the research, think about it and do the survey. And second one is really very correlated to the previous one. Be realistic, be alert. Even though some topics you may find your advisor may tell me that it's very interesting, a very novel problem and fancy problem, you can easily come up with a solution. Especially in that case, you have to think about whether it's really realistic and whether you can solve that using the existing knowledge. Because some problem may be solved using the next generation of technology. For example, when the neural network come into occur, I believe it's 1918s or 1970s. At that time, the computation power is way weaker than the GPUs from NVIDIA and AMD. So at that time, even though the neural nets were promising and mathematically very beautiful for the machine learning problems, but actually it is impossible for them to solve a problem using the computational power at that time. So be realistic. Study what you can do using the equipment you have in your lab or in this area. Next one is the real data, real problem, and real thing. It's part of the 3R and 3Es. Because if you want to really do the high impact jobs, you have to use some applications to demonstrate your ideas, your project, your research. So a very good approach is to find some real problem and propose some real solutions. And next one is never underestimate the power of brainstorming. Actually, this one is usually ignored for the junior researchers, because you may find an advisor, you only discuss with your advisors, and there's only 2 brains. But actually, if you can involve the third person, you may find it's more easier to get new things, get new ideas come out if you discuss in groups instead of one-on-one discussion. Because for one person, the number of paper you have read may be limited, maybe like thousands or hundreds. But actually, if you study on projects, but someone else may have other experience not directly correlated to your project, but have some insights or have some idea signals correlated to your project, they will provide very useful advice. And next one is the think before you leap. Actually, this is the what we emphasize over and over again. Before you really do your research, think about it and come up with several cases. Whether it's the tiny model, tiny model or toy model, and then you can validate the correctness, and you can do the experiment. That is very correlated to computer science domain research. As far as I know, for the really the EE domain, in the Harvard design, they may find the making a toy model as hard as making the final product design. So for the computer science, IE student, you may find it that was useful. Another one, next one is work together and learn from others. That is very correlated to the brainstorming, but I think collaboration is always the key idea to gain a very good research result. Because from my experience, I collaborate with more than 10 like collaborators from within the group, out of the group, from other university, even from one from Tianjin University. The people from different groups may have different like personality or different preference in using some tricks or proposing the solutions. You may find that more people involved and more ideas come out. And finally, you have to be precise and propose several solutions. You cannot just come with ideas and try it. You have to really think about it and validate and finally propose a solution. So I think that's what I can have for the advice for finding the good research topics, and I hope everyone who want to do research, who want to like do the finding a good career in the academic domain, hope all of you guys can have a good success. Yeah, I think that's for my sharing about the graduate application and the undergraduate research and how to find the research topics. I think that is what is the most challenging part when I was doing the research and when I was finding several research positions during my undergraduate life. And if you have any questions, and feel free to ask.